What's your middle name?
Here.
And what's your last name?
Michi, look at the camera. Over here.
What's your dad's name? What's your mom's name? Does she have another name?
What do you have there?
Nah, my mom is black, my daddy's white. I grew up in Tiburon, California, where it is 88% white and less than 1% black. My blackness was always filtered through the eyes and ears of my mom. During bath time, we would do the Jamaican alphabet. A is for Aki, B is for banana, C is for curry. And I remember one summer, I went to an African-American accounting camp at USC where I learned to do the Dougie and the jerk. And afterwards, I explained to my mother she hadn't taught me enough about black culture. I never really had to consider my blackness. My mom was always there to shape it for me. I weaved it in and out of social situations as I saw fit. And I remember when I was younger, my mom would talk to my siblings and I about the consequences of being black. And it really wasn't something I took seriously. And it wasn't until we elected a new president that really encouraged racism that I understand the reality my mom was talking about was extended to myself and it included me. And once the intentionality of my mother's parenting began to fade and it left me to pick up the pieces and maintain my sense of black identity, I started to explore it. And I think it came in the form of Thanksgiving dinner at my auntie's house in Columbia, Maryland. Partaking in the festivities and privileges of being my mama's child, large family gatherings, late night partying, delicious food. I got to explore the definition of my own black identity. I started to question my responsibility to my community. I get to engage with the world without ever having to consider the color of my skin. I get to dress as I see fit, and I get to talk about race without sensitivity. So where does it leave someone like me? Someone who understands the black experience, but gets to choose whether or not they have to participate in it every day.
I don't let you go. You out. You on the leash. The leash is long right now. You don't get a shape up every week. You got a blonde streak in the front of your head. And you don't brush your hair every day. Like, I'm letting you live.
We've already, to some degree, understood that because we live in America, white is the dominant mode of operation. So it's either you're well versed in it or you're not. But usually there's some type of kind of social balancing act, right? So at home you can be as black as you want, but at school you gotta play the game the right way. But when you get here and your small residential college is your home and your work and your learning, it's hard to balance that out.
What's going to happen, Krista? People are going to be asking you to do their hair, to dance and stuff.
See, I used to do that. I used to cut hair in the men's locker room of the dance department.
Yeah.
When I would find somebody, I'd be like, oh, you need a haircut. And they'd be like, Miss Krista, there's no way to get my hair done. I was like, look, meet me tomorrow.
Not being able to go to a hair salon and, just get my hair done and it's an all-day experience. Like, not having that is very difficult because it's very time-consuming doing my hair, and I don't think a lot of people that aren't people of color understand that, because I don't want to look unkempt, even though that's just like my hair is really curly and can get all over the place. But I know, based off of how this society works, you have to walk out a certain way. I can't just do like the messy bun that other people can do. That doesn't work. So it's like, it's a lot of planning to make sure that you look a certain way every single day, but I'm used to that. So it's not like, oh, I grew up in an area where I just went wild with my hair and nobody cared. It was kind of like, since I was young, like I've been taught that my hair has to be a certain way or flattened or, you know, that kind of thing.
I guess because I do dress a little preppier on a regular basis. And I know because I am at Middlebury, which is a preppy school, so I know being at Middlebury in this elite school in general, that it has affected the way that I am dressing in general, because I did dress up like this growing up, but not all the time. I dressed up more bohemian and more grungy, more or less. But I do find myself adjusting, not that it's a full-on change, but it's tweaks here and there, depending on who I'm dealing with.
I do feel that way as a professor, as a resident of Middlebury, Vermont. You can see I'm wearing a North Face pullover fleece here, so absolutely. I cannot dress the way some of my colleagues dress. I cannot look bummy out on the street. I don't want to attract that attention. Who knows what will happen to me if I wear pajamas down the street or wear, pants with holes in them or a bummy shirt or something. I always look presentable because I'm a black man in Vermont.
So how do you wear your hair if you ain't used to it? Like middle like that? Oh, wow.
I'm not very
It's a little bit.
I'm curious to find out how they're going to react. My workmates.
Your coworker?
Yeah, coworkers.
They're gonna be like, oh my God, Betty, your hair's beautiful.
They're not used to it, trust me. I'm a different person.
Very.
There's a hidden burden on underrepresented groups, minority students, not just minority students, but staff and faculty as well. And that is that there are these additional, we mentioned some obstacles earlier, and then oftentimes a weight of sort of a responsibility that they have to educate others, right? And I've heard from students saying, I'm here for my education, I shouldn't be here to have to educate you as well.
I think responsibility is a huge word, because there are some days where I could speak up in class and say, that was an issue and here's why. And I have the energy to engage and say, I'm not doing this for myself, I'm doing this so next year's class of black women doesn't have to deal with this, even though they probably will have to deal with it. But then there are other days where I just don't, my first response is, this isn't my job, or I think I've done enough. And I am constantly negotiating where that line is between responsibility and you're able to take a break.
If you want to make the argument that we need to have people of color here to diversify the perspective of the institution, then to a certain extent that's saying that the purpose of people of color is to do the work, do the intellectual hard work of saying why their voices matter, right? And I don't know what to do about that, right? Because on one hand that seems unfair. That's like an extra burden on people of color that people in the dominant class can avoid if they want to, right? Like if you're in the dominant class and you don't want to talk about race, you can just not talk about race. You can be like, all right, I'm just going to live my privileged life and not have to think about it. But if you're a person of color, it's a lot harder to avoid that. So then do you say, okay, now as a person of color, in addition to navigating that, now it's your responsibility to tell people this is why race matters, this is why ethnicity matters, this is why people say Black Lives Matter, this is why we pay attention to intersectionality all the time. Like it sucks and it's tiring, right? It's having had to have these conversations a bunch of times. It is a cost. But then on the other hand, if we don't do this, then who will, right?
I am very, very intentional in my pursuit of changing the minds and hearts of individuals who are in my realm of service, rather than, kind of a kind of national platform or international platform of things have to change, right? Because I do believe that if we don't change people experientially, one-on-one, then it's just gonna be another age of clicktivism. Like, yes, that's bad. Don't do that. Click, click, like, follow, follow. Right? It's not gonna actually trickle down to their personal understanding of another person's experience.
Be safe and everything. I love y'all. You know how I do. I mean, that ain't nothing that's just said. When I say I love someone, I love y'all. Thanks for always supporting me, being there for me. Whether it's raining, sleeting, snowing, whatever it is. Anytime I ask, y'all there.
Throughout the whole SGA campaign process, people kept saying, "Oh, Michelle Obama." I'm like convinced that Michelle Obama is like the only black woman that most of these people know. Because like someone said Michelle Obama and started describing Michelle Obama, but they were talking about Oprah. And so it's just like one of those things where like I'm not Michelle Obama, I'm not BASIA, I'm not Wungel, I am just me. But I think being a black woman, I don't think I get to say that. I think just how Beyonce and Michelle Obama, they all have to be every single black woman on this campus has to be every single black woman at all times, whether we're together or apart. And some days I think it's unfair, and other days I think it brings me closer with them. So it really depends on the day. Yeah.
I'm probably in this position, or my path to get to this position has almost certainly been made easier because I am white passing and because people are more willing to accept me because I'm a more acceptable black person or Hispanic person than the next person. But at the same time, I think that gives you the responsibility to really understand, one, how your privilege has impacted like your trajectory, but also two, like being able to be the voice in the room that is different. And I think that takes a lot of courage. And I think that's something that I'm dealing with now. Like even as I go through classes, like having the courage, but also like the composure to be able to articulate myself and speak on behalf of people that aren't here to like have a voice to speak for themselves, you know?
Do not walk into the world just representing yourself. And I think we have gotten to a point as a society where the individual has been prefaced forward rather than the community and the family. And so it's a constant reminder that when I leave the house, I'm not just Crystal, I'm Gabe's mom, I'm Jackie's daughter, I'm Reese's sister, I'm Janelle's best friend, I'm Captora's granddaughter, and my ancestors are with me at all times, And it's not about me. And I think that's one of the kind of driving forces of all my work is that it's just not about me. There's so many things that my words, my actions influence that I can't just be like, I'm doing me. I'm doing me. Who is me? If these people had never existed, there would be no me, So it's really a balancing act of how much we let the perception of others influence who we are and who we become.